Hello! If you do not know, I'm Elaine and I'm a tour guide in the French Quarter in New Orleans. I have a lot of stories from my tours. Now, if you want to hear the ghost stories I tell on my tours, you're going to have to come down here and pay for it. But if you want to hear stories of weird things that happen while I am leading mostly drunk strangers through the French Quarter, I got you. So there are a lot of different figures that you'll see down in the French Quarter all the time. Like if you are working or living in the French Quarter, there are some people that you'll just know. Some of them work in the shops, some of them are tour guides, some of them are bartenders, and some of them are just the people that hang out there. And some of the people that just hang out in the French Quarter are a bit weird. There was one guy that for the longest time I referred to as Shirtless Shane because his name was Shane. And like he'd come up and chat with you most of the time. He was very friendly. He'd talk to you. But he was always shirtless at all times. Did not matter what the weather was. It could be raining. It could be cold. It could be the heat of summer. Shane would be shirtless. And like I said, most of the time he was a sweetheart. I remember one night I was sitting down by the river and he came and sat and talked with me for like 10 minutes. And yeah, he was asking for money, but he didn't seem to mind when I said no. He invited me to go get drugs with him, and I was like, yeah, no thanks, but thanks? And he was very polite. The problem with Shane is he did do a lot of drugs. And Shirtless Shane was a sweetheart up until the moment he was doing the wrong drugs. And then you just find him screaming obscenities at the top of his lungs all over the French Quarter. And I remember one night specifically, I was finishing a tour in Jackson Square, and Shirtless Shane comes storming into the square from God only knows where, screaming at the top of his lungs, waving a knife around. And I just sort of look over and go, well, that's Shirtless Shane. Let's go elsewhere. Now, sadly, I've not seen him in a couple of years, and that's not that unusual. A lot of the French Quarter people, you'll see them for a year or two before they just sort of vanish. You always hope that they got a good job, maybe got into rehab, maybe, just moved away, though there's always the fear that something bad happened to them. But I like to hope that somewhere, probably on a beach somewhere, Shirtless Shane is still screaming obscenities into the wind.